Hello everyone and welcome back. Dr. Bill Farley here at Video Game Archaeology. Just reaching out today because we have a couple of things to celebrate. Number one is the channel recently surpassed 1,000 subscribers, which was a really big deal to me. Took about a year, which is actually pretty fast compared to a lot of channels on YouTube. You know, we're not exploding, turned into anything huge here, but built kind of a cool little community, and I'm really excited that you've come along for the ride and are hopefully enjoying some of the content that I make. Also, are about to surpass 100,000 views, which is in some ways really cooler. That's a lot. That's a lot. As obviously I've put out a diversity of videos this last year, and some of them have produced more views than others. I don't really care that much about that. Some of the videos that I'm most proud of have very few views. That's okay. I'm still glad that I put them out. I'm not really here to produce the most views that I possibly can, but it is still kind of a cool milestone to hit. So the big reason that I'm here today, though, is to ask a question of you, which I'll get to in just a minute. It's a moment, it's an opportunity to define what the channel is right now, what I think it's going to be going forward, and where we're going to go from here. Now, from day one, the channel's really been about more than just video games and archaeology, right? The title sort of this channel suggests that we're just looking at that intersection. And obviously a lot of my content is about that. It's about media criticism of archaeology as it's presented in games. But I've always wanted to do more than that. And in the future, going into this next year, year 2 of the project, I'd like to continue to diversify that and do some more new things that I haven't done previously. So that question I have for you at the end, keep that in mind as we get there. Now, the main reason that I'm thinking about making a little bit of a shift in content and perhaps a shift in identity is because we continue to see the rise of pseudoarchaeology at all facets of media become a problem, both for archaeologists but for the broader community. And there's a lot of great research out there, and maybe I'll put some of that research in the comments or in the description that you can go out there and see why some of this pseudoarchaeology, the ancient aliens type stuff, and frankly, as I'm going to get into more this upcoming year, the newer stuff than ancient aliens it's not just bad science. It's not just bad information. It's just not just misinformation. It's actively dangerous. It's tied closely to disturbing, upsetting, straight up dangerous stuff. White supremacy, anti-Semitism, you name it. There are people who are using pseudoarchaeology and the pseudoscience connected to it to launder those ideas and to sell them to a broader public and to increase the approachability of these things that should be repugnant to all of us. So I'd like the channel going forward to have more to say about that. I've talked about it a little bit this last year, but I want that to become a larger portion. And a big part of that is because there's a lot of great criticism of pseudoarchaeology happening right now. And you probably don't know about most of it because it's in traditional academic journals, it's in book publishing, it's in blogs, it's in a lot of places that meet a lot of people, but it doesn't meet this huge community of people who are in these spaces. On YouTube, on TikTok, younger people particularly, but just people who like to consume media through this exchange. And there are a couple of great people on YouTube and TikTok, guys like Mini Minuteman and others who are doing this sort of work. And I'd like to join that. I'd like to add more voices to that because those folks who are already out there are doing good work, but more voices is good in this setting, right? I can bring some additional experiences that I've had to that conversation to make it a little bit stronger. So what can you expect from this channel going forward in year 2 and beyond? Well, number one, I'm going to continue to do media criticism, particularly of games, but as I've done in the past, I'll also talk about television, film, books, whatever, anywhere and anywhere that archaeology appears or archaeological ideas appear or the representation of ancient people and ancient places appear. There's something to be said there and something interesting to analyze. And I'll continue to do that as a main factor of this channel. Second, I want to do more engagement with basic archaeology. So getting away from the media criticism sometimes to just talk about cool archaeological discoveries, both old and new, the ones that are in the news, but also ones that are really important from the last decade or the last century even, and just to bring some of that information to you and bring my perspective to that as a professional archaeologist. And I want to continue to show you more examples of what archaeologists really do. A lot of my content has been about archaeological method and theory, how archaeologists think and how we do what we do. So I'm going to keep making that stuff too, and I'll put that up. And then, of course, fourth, as I said, I'd like to grow the amount of time that I spend directly criticizing and speaking directly against pseudoarchaeology, pseudoscience, and the hateful ideas that those ideologies underpin. As a tiny aside, I'd also like to increase the amount of time that I spend talking about masculinity and gender issues as it relates to being a man. And I have some ideas that relate to the ways that masculinity is represented through the lens of ancient culture and what men might have looked like in certain eras of the past. There's a lot of room to speak to young men from the experience of being a man who's gone through all of that and has interacted with that stuff and has this unique lens of archaeological knowledge to bring to that. So I'd like to talk about that a little bit too. So I don't think that's going to be a main focus, but maybe I'll make a video or two about that sometime soon. So here's my question that I promised for you. My question is, does the channel need a rebrand, right? As I said, I want to expand the content that I'm making, but I don't want to fundamentally change what I'm doing. But I recognize that right now, the way I have this channel branded, Video Game Archaeology, it's a great title. I love it. I'm still really love that I got that it was available. And it links me to archaeo gaming communities and folks who are into gaming and folks who are into archaeology. But I also recognize that it pigeonholes me a little bit. It makes it difficult for me to reach out and reach audiences who are just interested more broadly in issues of archaeology or pseudoarchaeology or combating pseudoarchaeology. And it's a huge community out there. So there's a potential that if I did some sort of a rebranding, if I rebranded myself just under my own name or some clever name, the mainstream archaeologists or, archaeological perspectives, whatever. I don't know. We got to brainstorm that, right? That could potentially open up a lot of new audiences for me to get in front of. So here's the question I have for you. And I'm hoping you'll leave a comment or maybe reach out to me in a DM, talk to me on Twitter, wherever you can get a hold of me. Although putting right here in the comments on YouTube is probably the best possible place you could do it for me to see it. Should I do a minor rebrand? Should I change the title and the splash page and stuff like that for this, or should I go the course and stay with Video Game Archaeology? Well, thanks everybody for a wonderful, fantastic, phenomenal first year, and I'm looking forward to continuing to make stuff for you for the foreseeable future and hanging out. Thank you again. I really appreciate it.